Welcome to the Forum, your way to keep up with state and community leaders, experts, and local business leaders. This is your chance to hear from and talk to people that affect your life right here in Rim Country. You can express your opinions by calling 474-2427. And remember, the comments and opinions of guests and callers are not necessarily the opinions of KMOG. Welcome to Rim Country Forum.
Good morning. Happy Friday, Common Sense Friday to you. Charlie Seraphin with you on the Forum this morning on KMOG in Payson, Arizona, and KMOG Country, wherever you're listening across the country, upstate New York, in Cooperstown, if you happen to be listening there today, or if you're overseas somewhere in Taiwan. We welcome you this morning. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can always call 928-474-2427. We thank our sponsors, Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, the Owens Law Firm, Realty Executives Arizona Territory, Pinnacle Propane, Banner Health, Payson Medical Center, the Dana Law Group, and the Power of Fives. And it's Common Sense Friday, so it's pretty much wide open. I'm going to direct you a little bit later if you need it, but if you don't, I won't. You can share whatever common sense is on your mind. And we have a call this morning already on the line, and it's a pleasure to welcome Walt Blackman. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Excellent. Oh, gosh, yeah. So what do you have for Common Sense Friday today, Walt?
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks to everybody out there who's continuing to support my congressional run for Congressional District 1. And I just want to let folks know that we're going to be fighting hard to win that seat back. And, with that, with the common sense, we have the issue at the border. And we've had this issue. We have 600 people crossing the border every single day. 600 illegal aliens crossing into our interior of Arizona. Recently, the governor sent down troops, the National Guard units, down to the border. However, the common sense approach would be to send more than just a company size and members that can actually join in with the Border Patrol, Sheriff's Department, to be able to protect those borders and be able to work with them instead of just kind of watching monitors. It makes no sense to have our troops down at the border when, first of all, we don't have enough, in my opinion, and second, they're not really doing the task at hand in protecting the border as they should. We need to have better decision-making at the top level when we're doing this. I appreciate the governor sending people down there, sending troops down there, but the common sense approach is being a war fighter, prior military, 21 years, the right type of troops have to be down there. So that's the common sense approach that I have this morning.
That's a good one, and good luck in your campaign, Walt. We wish you all the best. We appreciate the service that you've given to our district over the last couple of years in the state assembly, and you're a good man. But I have a question for you before I let you go. One of the things that I wanted, we have Mother's Day coming up. I'd like to know from you, what's a common sense thing or saying or rule or thought that you'll never forget that you got from your mother?
Never forget Mother's Day.
That's pretty common sense. All right, Walt Blackman, thanks so much for joining the program this morning. We appreciate you. 8 minutes after 9 o'clock here on the Rim Country Forum as we move right along. That's a kind of a thing. I remember something that my mother said. I'm not even sure I can say it on the radio. We may push the envelope a little bit later. But if you have something, especially common sense, that you learned from your mother, I think that would be appropriate on the Friday before Mother's Day. Let's go back to the phone. Say good morning. Welcome to the Forum and Common Sense Friday. Who's
good
on
morning. This is just plain Bill, and my mother's in heaven after 202 years on the earth, which I thank God for. I have something I wrote down to save time and money. When you have your prayer, which I love your prayers, I ask God to help me not call full offer. He's not listening. Anyway, the gym floor, not Jim Ferris, gym floor, GYM, gymnasium floor. Anyway, I have been paying real estate taxes in Payson for 20 years. I had quite a bit of real estate back when I was younger and was able to do more. And I paid taxes on several properties at a time. And I've always thought, and my statement shows, that a lot of that money goes to schools. So when, I'll read this, I have paid real estate for 20 years and paid some of the things we're supposed to go to as schools. Has someone who is handling school funds been misappropriating funds and putting money elsewhere instead of school building maintenance, including the gym floor? Is the question clear, sir?
I think it's a fair question, but I certainly don't know the answer because I don't know the intricacies. But I think next week we have someone scheduled from the school district to come in, and if they do, that's the kind of question I think we can ask them. It's a fair question. It's a budgeting question. Is why, there's two sides to it, because there were a group of people in the community who joined together and raised the money and they redid the floor. So that's not a bad thing. To do it outside of it. But is there a shortage of funds for building maintenance, Bill? I don't know.
The word is not shortage, the word is misappropriation. The money is there. The money is there. If I went to a restaurant and had lunch and a cup of coffee, and afterwards I got a bill, and then on the way out they stopped me and said, by the way, you forgot to pay for the plate and the cup. So I got a second charge for the use of the plate. I'm not buying it. And the use of the cup. And another charge for parking my car in their parking lot. I would probably not go back there again. And that's just a ridiculous example. But we're supposed to be including gym floor with the teachers' salaries and the paper and all the staplers and the copying machines and the electricity for the buildings. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Somewhere this money is being paid to the schools, and as I say, I paid it 20 years. I'm an authority. I'm able to I have a right to say that, and that I'll wait till next week. But anyway, thank you for letting me air myself out. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. God bless you, and have a beautiful day, Bill. Appreciate your call.
Have a nice weekend, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. 12 minutes after 9 o'clock on the Rim Country Forum. Today is Common Sense Friday. If you've got a common sense issue, either something that you don't understand because it doesn't make sense to you, or a common sense lesson that you learned from your mother. And Michelle was kind enough to share one that her mother shared with her. And this is a lovely thought. Do not stick a fork in the wall socket. Okay. Different strokes for different folks. But if we have to remind you of that, maybe we saved a life today. Who knows? That's what Common Sense Friday is all about. So there's something going on in Gila County. I want to share this. It has nothing to do with Common Sense Friday particularly, but I want to do this for the supervisors and for the county. They have taken a lot of time and effort to create a summer jobs program for young people, students particularly. So for young people who can't hold a full-time job because they have to go back to school in the fall, they can get a summer job, and there are quite a few of them available, and they've extended the deadline until Monday, the 17th of May. I believe that's the right date. But the deadline is being extended through next Monday, a week from Monday. And if you have someone in your household who is a student, who's looking for a summertime job. They have quite a few here in Northern County. They've got some jobs at the town. They've got some other jobs. They've got some with the Forest Service that are great jobs, and they pay well, and it's something that young people should be interested in, and a chance to earn some extra money over the summer vacation. So I'm going to give you two things. One, you can go to the Gila County website if you want to do this online and click on the HR department, Human Resources Department, and then click on Summer Jobs, and you can fill out the application online. So it's Gila County HR Department, Summer Jobs. And if that's confusing, or if you have another question, I've got a phone number for you if you want to write this down. The woman's name is Erica Raymond, and her number is 928-402-4253. That's 928-402-4253. Ask for Erica. She is the one who's coordinating the Summer Jobs program. It's going to be the deadline has been extended for applications for one more week. So you've got till a week from Monday, but don't hesitate. These are some good jobs. Learn a skill, get some pay, and make sure that this program is successful so they can do it again next summer. It's a good idea. It's 9:15. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Good morning, Charlie. This is Richard.
Well, hello, Richard. Richard, I thought of you this morning, as a matter of fact. I was hearing an economic jobs report, and it wasn't as good as they thought it was going to be and everything. And I think you're the one who told me that everything that happens in the economy has a 3-year lag. And so all the things that are happening now are the result of the Trump presidency, including, I guess, the market growth that we've seen over the last couple of months. But anyway, we're going to keep watching for 3 years, and then we'll have the conversation again. But I'll let you go on with whatever is common sense on your mind today.
Yeah. What I said about the economy is true. You know, what the federal government does to the economy doesn't take effect for about 3 years, except in things like handing out money. You know, the stimulus checks. That has an immediate effect. So the total indicator as to who's done what and whose policies affecting what, it's completely mixed when you throw in things like stimulus checks.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, what I was calling about was our Representative Blackman's assertion that there's 600 people crossing into central Arizona every day. He's dreadfully wrong because he's extrapolating on news reports of 600 people crossing the Rio Grande down near McAllen, Texas, and saying, well, that's happening here too. It's not. There's not that many people across the border to Arizona. There's, the biggest city nearby is the city of Nogales. There's not that many people coming through Arizona.
How many are coming through, Richard? I know you've got your eye in the sky.
It's an unknown number because it's people coming through. No one's catching them. There's no one's saying, "Hey, wait, I got to count you." No one's doing that.
Yeah, do you think that's okay, let's go back to the basic point. Your point's well taken. Let's say there's not 600. Let's say there's 60, okay, or 6 or whatever number. Whatever number that is, do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea?
What?
Having people cross the border with no restraints on this side of the border.
There are restraints on this side of the border? Don't be silly. Use some common sense there, Charlie. There are restraints on this side of the border. There is Border Patrol. There's everything.
Have you looked at the deportation numbers?
They are down.
Yeah. Well,
they were way up under Obama. They fell under Trump and then rose again under Trump, and now they're down again under Biden. Mm-hmm. But deportation has nothing to do with anything else.
Well, it has to do with the people that are coming over the border, right? It has to do with people coming over the border.
No, it has to do with the number of people caught on this side of the border and being deported. That's all it has to do. Yeah, don't put 2 and 2 together and come up with 5.
How about if I put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4? Would that be okay? That would be okay, wouldn't it? Yeah.
If you're talking about 2 oranges and 2 oranges equal 4 oranges, but 2 oranges and 2 apples don't equal 4 apples or 4 oranges.
That's
it
fruit.
Equals 4 fruit.
Yeah, we know what fruit is.
Right.
We all know what fruit is.
That's the problem with statistics that everybody has everywhere.
Right, and everybody can quote a different. And since I'm not at the border and you're not at the border, we can assume that you're correct for the purpose of this conversation, and that the assemblyman was wrong in the number that he gave. But I think the bigger bottom line question we have to ask is it a good policy that has been enacted under this administration to relax the controls on the border, to stop the construction of the border wall, to basically invite people from Central America to come into the country?
I don't see where you're getting that.
Well, you don't.
Yes, they stopped the construction, the illegal construction of the border wall. Trump was not supposed to take money away from the military and put that into building a wall that had absolutely no permits to do that. You know, that was horribly wrong.
Well, it was done under the national...
Especially because the money he took from the military was for so many things like building military schools, you know, schools on military bases, things like that. And, you know, it was like, my God, this is not a thing. And everybody's saying, oh, big crisis at the border. It's not a big crisis. It's not as bad as everybody is screaming about. It really isn't.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm positive.
You're positive?
It was a hell of a lot worse about 40 years ago. Hell of a lot worse.
How many millions came in 40 years ago? Because I'm fuzzy on the math here.
Okay, numbers are up just because there's more people, but the amount of illegal crossings 40 years ago was tremendously higher than it is today, and that's why the border fence was constructed in many places, and generally border patrol has been stepped up through the years, especially in the last 10, 15 years. You know, and enforcement has gotten better and better. Now, who would say, oh, it's getting worse and worse? The Border Patrol people would say that because they want more money to build their little empire and keep them in a job. Yes. That happens almost with every government agency.
Richard, I think what we should do today is we're going to leave it at that. We're going to throw it out there. But if we can summarize, what you're suggesting is there's no crisis at the border. Are you right?
There's no crisis. There's a problem, but there's no crisis.
There's a problem, and that illegal crossings are really no worse than they were 40 years ago, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's actually less worse than it was 40 years ago.
Okay. Well, let's just put that out there and see if people think that's common sense or not. We'll just leave it at that. And thank you so much for listening. Thanks for calling, and have a beautiful day.
Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you. 22 minutes after 9 o'clock. There you go. That's Richard on Common Sense Friday. I bet we'll have a little reaction. That's what it's all about. The number's 474-2427. The line's open. We'll be back with more calls after this. Welcome to Common Sense Friday on KMOG. Charlie Seraphin, your host here. Got a letter from President Joseph R. Biden Jr. in the mail a couple of days ago. I want to share just at least one part of it with you. The American Rescue Plan also extends unemployment insurance to help reduce your health care premiums if you have a plan through the Affordable Care Act. To learn more about this law and how it will work for you, please visit wh.gov/ARP. Okay. When I took office, I promised the American people that help was on the way. Oh, that person lost interest or whatever. 474-2427 is the number. The line is open. It's Common Sense Friday. We got all kinds of things. Back to the letter here. This has been a long, hard time for our nation, but I believe brighter days are ahead. We're in the path to vaccinating the nation. Our economy is on the mend, and our children will be back in school. I truly believe there is nothing we can't do as a nation as long as we do it together. Signed, Joseph Biden. There was a video, I don't know if you saw it or not, from an Australian commentator who took clips of President Biden and really did this incredible scathing indictment of the current administration without being political. I'm just saying it was very interesting. Showed a lot of the misspeaks that the president has made in recent public appearances, and also showed him wearing the mask during the Zoom economic summit with all the other leaders of the world, and they were all there, and none of them had a mask, but he did. So I always thought that was because he didn't want them to know who it was. He was just kind of messing with them a little bit. So, he does have a great sense of humor. Come on, man. Okay. Oh, here it is. I better not do that. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line? Who is this?
This is the other Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, I was watching that Zoom meeting also, and I noticed that there were all of these foreign representatives had their country flag in the picture, except for Biden. We did not have American flag up there.
Well, he didn't want him to know. That's why he was wearing the mask. He didn't want him to know what country he was from.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. On the border subject, I bought the house next door and had 4-foot high chain link all the way around, and I've had an issue with the elk coming into my yard, and it was heavily forested. I cleared that all off, and it seemed the elk problem got bigger, and my neighbors started complaining about elk getting into their yard and eating their plants and so forth. Want to know if I would go halves on putting up a 6-foot fence, and I put an electric fence around my property, and they broke that down. And it seems like the only remedy is to put a higher fence. And I think maybe that's that's why we call it borders, is because it separates us from another piece of property. And I think that the only way we can remedy this is to either have a fence strong enough and high enough to keep people from coming across, or I don't know. I mean, even patrolling. I patrol my property, and I can't do it day and night, so I still have the issue. And I do see changes over the years. When I first moved here, I didn't have that problem 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why the elk situation in town has got to where it is now. I don't know why the border in Mexico has gotten to the situation. It may not have been that way 40 years ago. I don't know, but I'm sure economy, presidents, dictators, so forth, affect our border crossings. America, as Jim Ferris was talking about yesterday, is a special place, and we call this the Promised Land. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe it is the Promised Land.
Yeah, I do too. And Joe, I think you found the correlation there between the elk and Payson and the illegal migrants who are coming across the border without going through the proper channels and being invited into the country. And I think it's for the elk, they're intelligent. They're a lot smarter than people think. So they know if they come into town, there's nobody going to be shooting them because we don't have any hunting in town. You can't get a bow permit in town. You can't get a rifle permit in town. So they're safe. So they're reproducing, and it's generational. We see the yearlings every year, and there seem to be more and more babies being born. And so now we have, I think they're probably, and I don't know, I'm not an expert on elk, but I think there are probably 2 large herds who live within the town limits. And they're here because this is a safe place. And there's a lot of opportunity, and a lot of people have gardens and flowers and that sort of thing, right? The food is food is good, and they don't have any real natural predators. They got to watch out for the coyotes a little bit on the babies, but other than that, they got pretty much free reign, and they can cross the street whenever they want. You stop for them, right? We're not running into elk in town. Happens on 87 south of town or north of town, but not in the town. So that's the thing. And then the same thing for the people who are coming into the country. It's a safe place for them. They come across, they get a place to stay, they might get a check, they get some money. They can vote, they get a driver's license. Jobs are plentiful. It's a lovely thing. There you go.
Yeah, but I'm not going to start planting more food for them and putting out more water and a lower fence for them just because I like elk and I like to look at them and they're destroying my backyard, and they're eating everything that I do put in the ground. Why would I want to why would I want to put more out there for them, make it easier for them?
Well, see, Joe, that's because you got common sense. See, the common sense says you wouldn't invite people into the country if you can't take care of the people you got here already. If you have a large number of homeless people, which all you have to do is go to any urban center and look at what's going on in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Sacramento, New York City. I mean, it's just coast to coast. Wherever you go, there's a huge homeless population, right? And we're not taking care of those people. We're not getting them help for their mental illness. We're not getting them help for their drug abuse problems. We're not getting them help for their economic problems. Those that are economically, had a couple of bad luck things happen and lost their homes, lost their jobs, and now they're out on the street. So we got thousands and thousands of those people. But what do we do? It's just like the elk that are already here. We just invite some more in. We plant some more stuff, lower the fences, take the fences down, stop building those fences. You can't keep elk out because elk are nice. We like elk. So
don't you?
Yeah, there you go. So I think, Joe, you've kind of connected the whole universe here.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate your call. Oh, golly. 9:31. Common Sense Friday. What did your mother teach you besides don't stick the fork in the socket or wet your finger and stick it in the socket? That was another one that was popular back in the day. Maybe you got some Mother's Day reminders. Maybe you just want to talk about common sense in general. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
This is Dennis.
Hi, Dennis.
How you doing today, sir?
Excellent, Dennis. How about you?
Hey, I just want to say I'm sorry to hear every time you don't have the right opinion, you get insulted and shut down and told you have no common sense. That last guy before, Richard, before John, or Joe there, that's the one problem I have. It's like if you don't agree with what somebody says and they're on a certain side, you're stupid. And it's kind of, common sense would show if you live down there and you lived in Arizona for a long time, there is a problem. Yes, it has been going on for quite a while. And it's just political. And, I would like somebody to bring up the fact, like with all these kids not going to school. What's the suicide rate and what's the number? How many kids have we lost because of this political party? The games back and forth.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of my idea, kind of things. And again, I'm sorry to hear you get insulted for having an opinion.
I don't feel insulted. Honestly, I don't. Richard calls consistently, and he's a thoughtful person, and he just happens to come from a different point of view, a different perspective, and he's pretty polite about it, But he says those numbers are all wrong, and there is no crisis, and whatever he says, he believes those things, and the nice thing, and that's what we talked about yesterday with Jim, is the nice thing, Dennis, is that in our country, you have the right to your opinion, even if you're dead wrong. I mean, if you are so far off base, you want to say that the moon is made out of green cheese, God bless you, have a nice day, because you get to say it. And in Russia, that ain't happening. In China, that's not happening. North Korea, that don't happen. They don't have anybody going on there, on the radio that can call in and express an opinion that's not state-sponsored. It just doesn't happen. So that's why we have to stand up. As Jim was saying yesterday, we have to stand up for not only our rights and demonstrate our rights, but we have to stand up for what we believe. And we don't have to shout people down if they disagree with us, but there are a lot of people out there who do have common sense. That's why we have Common Sense Friday. They don't, they walk around quietly and they don't tell people what's going on. And I think it's part of our duty to exhibit common sense in our thoughts and our words and our actions.
You're correct, but can't we have a little respect while we do it?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we should have more. I don't think Richard's a bad guy, and I don't think he's at all. I mean, I think he's pretty polite. But there are a lot of them out there that are shouting people down. Absolutely, people lose their jobs because they express an opinion that doesn't fit with the narrative that is part of the cancel culture, and that's I
totally agree.
That's
outrageous.
outrageous.
Like he's very well, very informed. It just didn't sound very well when you didn't agree with what he said. You had no common sense. Use your common sense. So that's one thing I'm just talking about. We can respect each other, even if we don't agree with each other. We're all individuals. We're all going to have a different idea and different outlooks. I mean, look at all of us with our husbands and wives. We, hardly any of us have the same ideals, but we make it work and we respect each other. That's how you make it work. But so, and again, like I said, I'm just worried about the kids. They can't find any place to rent. They're killing themselves and nobody cares. So.
Well, you care.
I
appreciate it, Dennis. Good luck today, and watch those. Don't put any forks in the circuits, in the electric circuits. Okay.
Yeah. Nobody cares. All right, buddy.
Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, Dennis did a lot of work at my house before I ever started here. We had the pack rats in the attic, and he helped alleviate the problem by rewiring the whole house, basically. Here's a quote from Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I like to think about him because he, back in the 70s, in the late 60s, early 70s, he was an outspoken critic of what was going on in the Soviet Union, and he was a remarkable human being. He said, "Human rights are a fine thing, but how can we make ourselves sure that our rights do not expand at the expense of the rights of others? A society with unlimited rights is incapable of standing to adversity. If we do not wish to be ruled by a coercive authority, then each of us must rein himself in. A stable society is achieved not by balancing opposing forces, but by conscious self-limitation, by the principle that we are always duty-bound to defer to the sense of moral justice." We are duty-bound to defer to the sense of moral justice. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Good morning, Charlie. This is Steve Christensen.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, I don't know if I have any common sense to offer you today, but, I was on the show last Monday, and there was a few questions from around Rim Country about the how the assessor judges property and the different rates and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Yes, so what I did is I went to the assessor on Tuesday, and I got some information if everybody wants to listen to it.
Okay.
Okay, so if you have a residence, a home, it's assessed at 10%. Okay? If you have a vacant lot, meaning there's not a residence on it, you can have a shed or a garage or something else on it, but it's still considered a vacant lot, 15%. Agriculture is also at 15%, but the valuation is very low, okay? And for commercial, it's 18%. These are set by the state. It's a statewide value. We have no control over that other than the legislature controls that. And the assessor, of course, is an elected official, so he's the one that assesses your property. Now, you can appeal that assessment and go through that process if you think it's an unfair value. So, we always have that. And by the way, there was a question on whether or not if you firewized your vacant lot, if it would increase the assessed value, and it does not. In no way does it change the value. It's still just a vacant lot.
So that would be assessed at 15%?
It would, and the cash value would not go up because it was firewized.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. We got one more, Steve, that came up probably since you were here, but the supervisors voted earlier this week, I think, having something to do with the Humane Society and taking the stray dogs that they catch in the Payson area down to the new facility in Globe.
Right. Yeah, I was one of the votes.
Okay. And the rationale was that saves the county money by using that facility as opposed to housing them at the Humane Society here?
It does. It saves the county a lot of money. So I was talking to Michael O'Driscoll about it, and we had this contract for quite a while. And they don't catch that many dogs up here that end up in that facility. They, through Facebook and other means, are able to get the dogs back to their owners. And so what it ends up doing is averaging over $1,100 per animal to put them in the humane shelter here in Payson. And so it is by far much cheaper if they need to keep an animal that they take it to the Globe facility, which is just recently been built and is just about to be completed.
Okay, I think one of the criticisms, and somebody stopped me on the street the other day and was talking about it, and they said, but there's two things to consider. One, what if it's your animal that they pick up? You have to go. Now you have to drive down to Globe to find it instead of being able to pick it up locally. But more important, they said that money, that $38,000, whatever it was, is a critical part of the revenue stream for the local humane society, and they use that money not just for the housing of stray animals, but they use it for a lot of other animal rescue programs here in the Payson area.
Well, and that's likely true. That is an impact to them. So my vote was for the taxpayers and saving the taxpayers money, and not necessarily a vote pro-humane shelter. So I just kind of looked at it as, okay, we can save some money to the taxpayer.
Okay.
And it made sense to me. It was recommended by staff, and so that's the way I voted.
Very good.
All right.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Charlie.
You bet. Steve Christensen, our county supervisor for District 1 here in Gila County, on the line, 18 minutes before 10 o'clock here at KMOG. If you've got a common sense question or comment, 474-2427, lines open. It's your favorite program on the radio, the Rim Country Forum. Charlie Seraphin with you on a Common Sense Friday. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah, it'd be like, don't pick a scab. Don't pick at it. Respect your elders. Don't talk back. Cover your mouth when you cough. Don't go out in public when you're sick.
Now that's your basic common sense right there. Thank you, Mother, right? Yeah, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Bill. Good call. 16 minutes before 10 o'clock, Common Sense Friday. Okay, so I'm going to share, I can't use the word that, well, I could, but I probably won't. I don't want to upset anybody. But my mother had a really good one, and it just stuck with me my whole life, and it's created the attitude that I've gone through life with. And her common sense admonition to me was, don't get carried away with your own BS. She didn't say BS, but she said that fairly regularly. Don't get carried away with your own BS. And it's really appropriate in today's world, because as you look around, I bet in one of your encounters today, you'll run into somebody who got carried away with their own BS. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
This is Manny.
Who is it?
I got one thing to say about this dog deal at Globe.
Uh-huh.
Don't get lost in your own BS. And the other thing is, it's worse than jury duty. Are they ever going to put jury duty up here in Globe or in Payson? I mean, It costs like $80-$100 to drive to Globe.
I know.
If somebody's dog gets lost,
Yeah.
that's a joke. That's really a joke.
Yeah.
I hope they ain't really planning on doing that.
Well, they are. I mean, they just pull the funding. So if they catch a dog up here, they cannot take it to the Humane Society at the end of this contract period, whatever it is maybe have a couple of weeks or so to run. But after that, when they get the new facility built on Globe, they're going to take all the animals from here down there.
What if they got a chip in them that's here? Don't they check that first?
Now you're getting...
Or waiting the time to put chips in our dogs.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. A lot of dogs are going to get used tonight because people ain't going to be able to afford to go to Globe. That's the reason I'm upset about it.
Yeah.
But other than that, what about the jury duty stuff? Are they ever going to do that out here?
I think now, and again, don't quote me on it and go back and say, yeah, I heard it on the radio, so it must be true, because I'm just going by an impression, but I don't have any facts to back it up. But I think what they talked about is when they build the new courtroom here, that new beautiful building, and I meant to ask Steve about that too, that there were a lot of people criticized I was saying beautiful facetiously, the design of the building that's coming in on the Beeline that the county is building. But I think there's going to be a court facility in that where they can have bigger trials, and I think if they will have some trials here in Payson, and so maybe when you get jury duty, you can go to Payson instead.
Yeah, that'd be great, because that's a joke too. I mean, you can't even get there to do it, especially when you don't drive and you're blind and you don't hear things like that.
Yeah,
that would be wonderful. Look at all the money that they save there.
Yeah.
People, anyway, not the town, but the people.
Yeah. I wondered, I bet your mother said that too. Said, don't drive if you're blind and you can't hear, right?
That's right. I only want to do it unless I can get to it.
Appreciate you. Thanks for calling.
All right, you guys be blessed.
Yeah, you be blessed too. You have a great day. 13 minutes until 10 o'clock on the Rim Country Forum. Charlie Serafin with you. Just having fun. That's what we do on Common Sense Friday. You know, we cover a lot of different issues, and some of them are local and political, and some of them are just real simple, basic common sense. And it's kind of fun. It's fun for me. I hope it's fun for you. I think it is. I get some feedback. I had somebody ask me early this morning. I ran into a lady, and she said, so what's the topic for Common Sense Friday today? I said, I'm not going to tell you. You have to listen. If I tell you, what if you don't want to participate in that? But some common sense that your mother taught you. That's a good thing, because it's Mother's Day tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Change your underwear. You might get in an accident.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, keep that clean underwear on. Clean underwear and socks. You never know. You know, you can't. Don't be running around with your dirty underwear. Shame on you. Okay, here comes Mike. Hey, Mike. Somebody just quoted from your program earlier this week. They said, change your underwear, because you always wear clean underwear, because you never know when you're going to get in an accident. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
This is Darlene.
Hi, Darlene.
Good morning, Charlie.
How are you?
So my mother always said to take responsibility for your actions.
Wow, that's a real basic one, isn't it?
Very basic, but a lot of people don't do that these days. So, and a lot of governments and a lot of politicians, and so I think that would be common sense that we would all benefit from.
I think so too. That's an excellent one. Thank you, Darlene, for sharing that.
I have one other common sense thing.
Okay.
In today's paper, the Roundup published a Rim Country Healthcare Guide, and it's said to be the 2021 Comprehensive Guide to Rim Country Healthcare Professionals, published by the Payson Roundup. And I went through it, and there is one really glaring error in there, and that is that they did not include our one and only Pregnancy and Parenting Center, which I believe is a much-needed resource that we have in Payson. And in fact, I think it's the only one in about a 100-mile radius. So common sense would have been that you would have put that in there, but it got left out. So I'd like for people just to know that we do have a Pregnancy and Parenting Center here.
And it's called New Beginnings.
New Beginnings.
And it helps a lot of people. I ran into a person yesterday who adopted a child and shared her experience with New Beginnings, and it was really just heartwarming. It was really wonderful, and she said she learned so much about pregnancy, and it helped change her life. And now she's a devotee of New Beginnings. She thinks the world of it. But so that got left out. So that was a common sense mistake for sure.
Yep. Well, we'll just make sure that we let people know that, and so if they have any questions or would like any further information, just to be sure to call New Beginnings. And I'm sorry I don't have that phone number memorized because it's on my speed dial on my phone.
There you go. And that's a common sense thing too. We used to always remember all the important phone numbers in our life, and we don't remember any of them. Now we hardly remember our own phone number.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
You have a good day.
Thank you, Darlene. Bless you. 9 minutes before 10 o'clock on the Rim Country Forum, New Beginnings. And if you have something to donate that has some value, think about the Nook, which supports the New Beginnings Center. Oh, yeah. We'll take care of a little bit of business, and then we'll have time for a couple more calls on Common Sense Friday right after this. It's a Common Sense Friday on the Rim Country Forum. Charlie Serafin with you. Thanks for listening, wherever you're listening this morning. If you're listening on KMOGcountry.com, on the internet, around the world, wherever you may be. Thanks for joining in this morning. You're always welcome to participate in the program as well. The number is 928-474-2427. So I have another quote here, and I don't normally like to read a lot of stuff on the air, but I'm going to read this because I think it's really important. My sister sent it to me, believe it or not. It's a quote from C.S. Lewis. You know him. And he wrote it in 1948, and it was written in reference to the atomic bomb. Because in 1948, we started building the fallout shelters. There was a lot of concern about the end of the world and people dying in mass numbers because of the atomic bomb. But as I read it, I thought about something different, and then we'll see what you think, if you think about something different as well. Who are you leading? Who is leading you? In one way, we think a great deal too much of the atomic bomb. How are we to live in an atomic age? I'm tempted to reply, why, as you would have lived in the 16th century, when the plague visited London almost every year. Or, as you would have lived in the Viking Age, when raiders from Scandinavia might land and cut your throat any night. Or indeed, as you are already living in an age of cancer, an age of syphilis, an age of paralysis, an age of air raids, an age of railway accidents, an age of motor accidents. In other words, do not let us begin by exaggerating the novelty of our situation. Believe me, dear sir or madam, you and all whom you love were already sentenced to death before the atomic bomb was invented, and quite a high percentage of us are going to die in unpleasant ways. We had indeed one very great advantage over our ancestors, anesthetics, but we have that still. It is perfectly ridiculous to go out whispering and drawing long faces because the scientists have added one more chance of painful and premature death to a world which already bristled with such chances and in which death itself was not a chance at all but a certainty. This is the first point to be made, and the first action to be taken is to pull ourselves together. If we're all going to be destroyed by an atomic bomb, and you can insert something else there if you like, let that bomb, when it comes to find us, doing something sensible as human beings, praying, working, teaching, reading, listening to music, bathing the children, playing tennis, chatting to our friends over a pint, and a game of darts. Not huddled together like frightened sheep and thinking about bombs or whatever we're afraid of. They may break our bodies, a microbe can do that, but they need not dominate our minds. And so that kind of went along with a headline that I saw that there was a grave concern among a lot of people, public health officials, a lot of politicians, the President of the United States, and everything, that after a rush of vaccinations, that there are a number of people who've chosen not to get the vaccine. And I think there's a correlation there, but I'm going to let you draw your own conclusions because I don't want to lead you too much. So, if you don't remember anything else from today's program, remember what my mother said. Don't get carried away with your own BS. It's 3 minutes until 10 o'clock. The phones are open, 474-2427. Got time for one more. Come on, a good common sense thing that you got from your mother. I know it's out there. I could incentivize you with a prize if you like. Would you like to win a prize? Give me a call, 474-2427. I want to remind you again, too, about the thing that we opened the program with, the summer jobs program. They're going to extend the deadline. So if you know a student who would like to have a summer job, the pay is decent, and the jobs are really interesting. They've got jobs here in Payson. They've got jobs in the southern part of the county with the Forest Service and whatnot. The number to call is 928-402-4253, and the lady's name is Erica Raymond. So 928-402-4253 for summer jobs. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
This is Dennis again.
Hey,
So
Dennis.
you say if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Well, there you go, Dennis. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And for your call this morning, Dennis, for your second and thoughtful call, because you were defending me earlier, you are the proud winner when you come by the radio station and pick this up of an autographed copy of One Stupid Mistake, Smart Decision Making in a Crazy World. And the theme of this book, One Stupid Mistake, Smart Decision Making in a Crazy World, as Darlene pointed out, is to take responsibility for your actions. So it all starts with you. That's what C.S. Lewis was talking about. That's what Alexander Solzhenitsyn was talking about. That's what we're trying to talk about here this morning, is to say it really starts with you. And if you just keep looking over the fence at the other guy and you figure out all the things that he should be doing and all the things that he's doing wrong, you're probably never, ever going to get it figured out. So if you look inside, take responsibility for yourself and your own thoughts, words, and actions, and pretty soon your life will start shaping up and the world will be a better place. What do you think of that?
I love it.
All right.
Well put, and I would appreciate it, and I will enjoy reading it.
Okay, I got a copy for you. I'll sign it to you and leave it at the front desk. You come by and pick it up, and thanks for your call today, and thanks to all of you for listening and for your calls. And if we missed you today, we'll catch you next time. We'll be back again on Monday. I haven't looked at the schedule, so I don't even know who we have as a guest on Monday, but I'm pretty sure we have somebody in here. What is it? Second Monday of the month? Don't remember. The Bower of Fives, the Dana Law Group, Banner Health, Payson Medical Center, Pinnacle Propane, easy for you to say, Pinnacle Propane, Realty Executives, Arizona Territory, Owens Law Firm, and Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration are great local sponsors. Please patronize them. Tell them Charlie sent you. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you again on Monday. You're listening to KMOG Pay. 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 You're listening to KMOG.